Hello, 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 and welcome back to that quirky bird girl. I'm Steph, and today I will be talking to you all about how I made my dream of ordering business cards a reality. What I did is I made my way over to a bunch of different sites because the first step was designing this freaking thing. And I have to say, designing business cards is not the easiest of things that I've ever taken upon. And so I started with a first draft and I started in Canva. And the great thing about Canva is it gives you different templates that you can kind of use or check out. To get kind of like a vibe for what it is that you want to do. And what I took away from that was like, holy crap, I need so much more input. As someone who's autistic, having multiple layers of input is something that's always really helped me. That's why case studies are like my bread and butter. I love them. So I started in Canva, extended out of Canva because I realized I needed even more input. I went to Google and I used Google as sort of like repertoire where it held a bunch of different examples of like people who I felt like were very like spunky and like quirky, just so I could get a feel for what that looked like. And I also took a look at a few people's websites too. I knew I wanted there to be a bird on the front cover, and on the back I wanted there to be like obviously my information, but I wanted it to be adaptable to this type of spaces that I was in. Well, I brought on someone who is a much better designer than I am. And then they took my initial mock-ups, which admittedly I didn't love, but I felt like this is version 1, like let me just see what someone could do. And she made them infinitely better than what I did. So by this time we have about like 2 different versions. And I asked her to add in a few different elements that I was looking for, maybe make the colors stand out even more. And then once she did that, it was really just on me to order it. Now, I started with a bunch of different websites because I was like, I don't know what I want. And I knew it was going to be like my first set cards. And I would definitely be adapting the card in version 2. So I didn't want to order like 500 business cards. It was important to me that I would order a bunch, but not that I would prioritize waiting on the design or holding off because, like, at this point, I'd lived in New York City for long enough. Like, I should have my own business card. I attend a bunch of networking events throughout the week, so it's really important that I have something like a business card that I can show to people and say, like, this is my brand, this is who I am. I also feel like a business card lends a certain level of legitimacy that can really just seal the deal on the way that you talk to someone too. So like if someone is really excited by the way that I speak to them, they'll be even more excited to see that I have something like a business card because that really shows that like I take my business very seriously. The way that I talk about myself, I take it very seriously. But the biggest thing was figuring out what I actually wanted on the business card because that also developed as well. So in version 1, I believe I just had my phone number and my website. I didn't have anything else. And then just my first and last name. Sat down and I just thought, like, what information could I possibly need? And also, like, what is most valuable that the card holder would know? You know, like, and I felt like it was important that they knew, like, the business, like, style that I do. That I was an influencer because I am an influencer. I talk about birds online, influencing people to love birds. Here's a photo of one, just because I can't help myself. And why would I want to? So that is the first part of the business card. And so then in version 2, I ended up adding a link to my socials as well, or the name of my socials and like where I can be found. So that was a really important detail that like it's not that I didn't think about it, it's just, like, I felt like it was obvious, you know, that quirky bird girl, but, like, sometimes you have to make the obvious a little bit more clear, and I feel like that's what I experienced in this circumstance. So, I added those 2, and that was version 2, and then I went into version 3 when my designer had, like, finally she finished amazingly and so beautifully finished, for Let's see if I can pull this without, she finished version 2. I went to go print it out and I realized that like, oh, I think I want a QR code on this. Where would I put a QR code? And then I started adding in a QR code. So even though I thought I was done with like the different versions, I ended up adding a little bit more, which was worthwhile actually. Now that I like reflect back on it, because I definitely needed the additions. Um, and just like making it as easy. Yes, the card looks beautiful. Yes, it's like utility will be really exciting and like there's a lot that I can do with it. But like if people are just taking it home and putting it in their cupboard and not playing around with it, then like why am I creating it? You know? People give business cards out all the time and they're not memorable most of the time. And so I wanted mine to feel and look very memorable. So come around to third version. That's my thinking. And I was really excited. Still am very excited, by the way. The sandwich reminds me of a very specific memory because it has pepper jack cheese and it takes me back to a time when I was traveling with someone along the East Coast and we went to a amusement park. We had packed lunches and they were pepper jack sandwiches. Crazy how much life changes, you know? How like I sat down to talk about ordering business cards and this thought comes up as I'm eating. But that's kind of how it works sometimes. So I'm still sitting on which website to choose for my business cards. And so I'm like, okay, you know, I can choose to do, I think it was called like GoPrint. As ChatGPT tell me a bunch of different options that I could choose for printing out my my business cards. It gave me, yeah, GoPrint was one of them. So I was like, oh, awesome, GoPrint. I'll try that one. So I ordered this like sample kit. And the thing with the sample kit is it takes multiple days to arrive. And then, so I'm like, okay, fine, I'm not waiting. I'll just send them an email, ask them if they can retroactively add in the 10% discount coupon code, because that was why I asked for it in that format, because I wanted the 10% discount code. So then I am in the process of doing that. I wanted to order, I think it was like 100 business cards that I wanted to order, which would last me about a month in New York City. And so I got to the delivery screen and it was like, oh, asking me about shipping. And I was like, I'm not paying $13 for standard shipping. Like, that's actually wild. Like, that's more than how much I was going to pay for the business cards. And they were going to be like thicker ones and glossy. And like for 100, it would have ended up being like almost $40. And I was like, that makes no sense. Let me check out Staples, because Staples was another option that I got when I was researching. And I love that you can do same-day pickup because it just makes the whole entire process so much easier. So I go to Staples, I submit my order in the bright and early morning, and then all the frickin' sudden I get a call and they're like, oh, it won't work because your QR code is outside of the box. And I was like, oh, I thought the box was the first box, not the second box. But apparently it's the second box, the smaller one. So I was like, dang. So then I had to go in and upload all over again. But when I did that, I noticed a typo. So it actually ended up being perfect because I needed that time to fix the typo. So I uploaded the second draft last night, go this morning, pick it up. I ordered 250. I ended up spending $38 total for this. Like, there's more down there. But this was a case that I got. I found at Staples. It was super cute. Isn't it adorable? Very cute. And inside of it are my business cards. So here they are. Here's the front. And then the back just has influencer, podcast host, bird tour guide, and just some general information. But it's pretty cool. And what I realized actually is that it doesn't even have my last name. It doesn't have my last name, which is, honestly, I'm not hurt. That is probably better, just to be known as that quirky bird girl across everything, because that's my branding. But these are my business cards, and I'm so proud of them. Now I get to carry them around everywhere I go. I'm so lucky that I have experience working at a market research firm, because I feel like I have like a unique understanding of branding and what it means to like run your own brand, while simultaneously having an appreciation for data. I've absolutely been obsessing over juice lately. And I don't know, it just makes me feel like I'm like eating healthier, which lately has just felt so good. So this is that. more to come on other things that I'm trying and other things that I have in the works. But I love you all so very, very much. Stay tuned for more. See you later. Bye.